am once more dressed in my glad rags here. Oh, I'll just let this bus go by. And it is a year since. Now I think this was the second video that I created on living with the Renault ZOE EV. Sorry about all the noise. It's a bus right in front of me. It's not us. And I'm going back down to Bothwell, Hamilton area, for a Burns night down there, which I've been to the last few years. So last time, I think it was the second video, this was really my first kind of really long kind of drive, using a number of different chargers on the way. Of course, since then I've done it many more times, and have got very used to doing this journey. So I thought, since it's the same journey we did a year ago, and let me have a look and see what we're up to now. 8,300 miles have been done, really, because that was just after I'd got the car, just a few weeks after I'd got the car I went down. So see if this is any better this time traveling down. I'm expecting it to be a lot more straightforward and a lot easier. I think, if I remember rightly, it took me on the way back that last time, you know, about 6 or 7 hours or something horrendous. So I have done it since then in much shorter time, and I'm expecting that to be the case again. So I got a full charge last night. I've had to do a bit of driving around the city, so I think I'm probably about 95% battery charge, something along those lines. Looking at the charge meter, it's telling me I've got a range of 64 miles. It has been very, very cold the last few weeks here in Aberdeen, not really getting above freezing much. However, and it was cold again last night. I think it was about -2 when I plugged in to charge up, and it is now 5 degrees, so it is warmer. So 64 miles, I should get more than 64 miles, but I'm just going to use some of my regular rapid chargers on the way down. So I'm going to head down to Forfar now and take it from there. I'm a bit later leaving than I anticipated, and I can't remember exactly what time I'm supposed to be down, but hey, it'll all be fine, it'll work out. And I thought I'd got a Diet Coke, but I think I've left it in the boot. Not very sensible at all. And I'm hoping I don't hit too much traffic on the way down as well, because that will hold me right up. So we'll see how we go. Another adventure, EV driving, long distance style. A90 heading down in eco mode, cruise control set at 60, so it kind of, your speed generally varies between 56 and 60. As you're going up hills, it doesn't keep it exactly at 60, because it's not giving you full power. It does let the speed drop slightly, which is okay. That's kind of what you would do if you were driving yourself. Maybe the difference is, if you're going downhill, it doesn't allow the car to speed up kind of beyond 60. It will just come right off the throttle and start regen. Now I'm a little intrigued serviced in December, and the previous video mentioned that, and in that service the dashboard was changed. That's all good, no problems there. What I have noticed, and I haven't quite been able to put my finger on it yet, but something seems to have changed during, I'm assuming they've done some updates in the kind of electronics during the service. And what I've noticed is that the regen behavior seems to be subtly different. And now what I haven't, it's been very cold, and that may be affecting the car and how the car behaves and how the batteries behave and how much it can charge them up. But it does seem to me that, I mean, basically the car is not regenerating as much as it was prior to the service. So what I mean by that is that, well, as I say, it's subtle, but I've noticed that the car is tending to use the friction brakes more than it was, and at least that's what it feels like. And when on the dashboard you can have an instant readout of your what's happening with the energy, so whether there's energy going into the battery or coming out of the battery. And quite often, when in the past your modulation of that regeneration was really almost directly connected to how you're using the brake pedal, so you could crank it right up to kind of 43 kilowatts regenerating if you're pressing quite hard on the brake. Now that does not seem to be happening the same way, in that it seems there is more going on now than that kind of direct connection that you felt you had, where you really were modulating the regeneration on the brake pedal, which I liked, because you kind of felt you had a lot of control over the regeneration. Now it seems to level out the amount of regeneration in a way that it didn't before. So if I'm braking relatively gently, it'll kind of level out at a certain kilowatts, where it shows you on the display, say, I don't know, 7 or 8 kilowatts going back into the battery. And then even if you press harder on the brake, it doesn't make any difference. Now initially I was thinking, what if they've really done, maybe it just won't allow you to regenerate at a higher rate any longer, which to my mind is not great. However, when the battery is the other thing was, for my car anyway, it would basically do that regeneration no matter what the battery level was. So you didn't really notice a big difference, even if the battery was pretty full. So I'm wondering if now I am seeing a difference and it's related to that battery level. Because I certainly have seen, more than 30 kilowatts going back into the battery. I've got cars, but well, there's a bit of traffic on the road here, so I don't want to stamp on the brake pedal and see what happens right here. But when I come off the road at Forfar, I'll use the brakes heavily and see what it does there. But yeah, it's funny, and it's one of these things that most folks would not be aware of at all if you were just jumping into the car or anything. But when you live with a car all the time and it's your daily driver, then you get much more aware of the nuances in how the car operates, and so even relatively small changes you do pick up on. And so that's something I'm intrigued by. Now the other thing is just the general charging rate, which is a lot slower than usual. Now that could be directly related to the low temperatures that we've got. So I'm intrigued to see at some of these rapid chargers that I've used many times before what rate they are going to be charging at. I'm hoping they're still charging at full whack, and having driven the car for a while on the way down, it should give the batteries a chance to warm up a little as they're being constantly drawn on. Yeah, so a few issues that I'm just it feels like something has changed, and I wasn't looking for anything, but it's just something I've noticed, and it feels like behaviour has subtly changed. Of course, I didn't. There was no kind of. There was no real sheet telling you what they have done and what changes. It's not like on a Tesla Model S where you get these over-the-air updates, and then you have a kind of a list, just as you would with any software update, of the fixes and the changes that have taken place in that update. So I don't have that, so I'm not quite sure what has changed. So I'd have to try and go back to Renault and understand that, see if I can get any information from them. So we'll see. I'm intrigued at this Forfar one, because certainly in the last few times I've used it, it has been working at full rate, and has not been a bother at all. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what rate it's charging at. It's not very pleasant on the way down. I'm going through showers and all that kind of thing. However, that's Scotland in January. I am nearing Forfar. It's just a couple of miles for a first charge, with I'll be about 10 miles or so left on the range. Now so I was going to try the braking, and I've put the trip computer into the mode for showing you direct consumption. So to the right of the speedometer, you may be able to see where it tells you what the direct consumption is. So I've taken cruise off, so I'm on the throttle, and about 16 kilowatts coming from the battery into the motor. Now, so I'll be coming off the road and want to brake fairly soon. But if so we're just slightly coming downhill here. If I take my foot off so my foot is completely off the throttle now, it goes up to about 17 kilowatts, kind of maximum, and then it just stays at that without using the brake pedal. So we are less than a mile. Unfortunately, I've worked with this traffic, quite a lot of traffic, so I can't do too many experiments here with slowing down and braking. But when I come off, we'll see what it does when I brake for the exit ramp, which is just up here. Here we are, we're just coming up to the exit, and it's fairly short, your ramp here, and sharp. So I'm off the throttle but not braking. I'm braking now, braking hard, and no change at all to the Regen. So it went to about 14 kilowatts back, just with me lifting off the throttle, and then when I started braking, it made no difference. Now that's very different behavior to how the Regen worked before the car went in for its service, which is interesting. Now sometimes it's not. It's obviously not because the battery is full, and so it's not because we've only got 10 miles of range left. So it's nothing to do with that. It just seems to be the way it's behaving. Now sometimes I do notice it makes a difference when you're braking, but it's just not nearly as much as it was. So I'm intrigued to know why that is. I mean, you'd think you'd want the maximum regen you can, but that doesn't seem to be how it is now set up to work, which is very odd. Oh well, here we are at the charger, so I will charge in, and again this is going to be interesting to see what rate this charges at. We will see. Ongoing checks. Well, that's good news. 55 minutes time remaining, so that looks like that is operating at full speed, which I'm very pleased to see. We'll have a wee look and see. If it's running at full speed, you get a new percent about every 20 seconds. So what's that been, about 5, 6? Yeah, that's about 20 seconds. So that is operating at full crack. Good. I'm pleased about that. I was getting a little bit concerned that something had changed in the way they had set up the in the service, that it actually wasn't charging at the full rate. It is good. However, Regen, something still a bit strange going on there. It has got very wet and not very pleasant outside. I have had some lunch, and after having lunch, got back here. It's been about 45 minutes, and as you can see, we are at 99% charge, so that's fine. So I'm going to unplug and we'll head on the rest of our journey. I'm thinking all the way down to the rapid charger at Stirling, which is an Ecotricity rapid charger. So that's the schedule for the next stop. We'll see how we go. Leaving the charger behind here at Angus House, the Forfar charger, and mamma mia, it is bright. I'm going to be driving into the sun the rest of the way down, right in your eyes. Very pleasant. And the range is saying 70 miles now, so I need Stirling. Services head that way. I think I'm going to go cross country down to Perth, save a few miles going that way, and more direct route. But as slower, you're travelling slower, but not using as much energy as a result. Still going cross country. It's all a bit grey. It's a bit of a shame. There's a bit of blue sky above because it's lovely. This kind of drive here, and I seem to be. I've got on the sat nav the Stirling services. Now I'm a bit, just this colder weather, I'm a bit closer on range than maybe I would like to be. I've got some range back doing this cross country bit where it's not you're not going as fast, but I'm about it's 46 miles to go and 47 miles on the range gauge, so it'd be nice to have a little bit more buffer. We'll see when we get to Perth whether I'm going to risk it or not, heading all the way down. I do seem to be have plenty of time though, either way, even if I need to stop for a quick 10 minutes in Perth. I think it should be fine for getting down around about when I need to. I'm still not quite sure when that is, but I'm aiming for about 6 o'clock, something like that. Maybe a bit. No, actually, it may be a bit. Near 6:30 or so. I'm bound to hit traffic at some point on the way down. We'll see how that goes, but there we are. Discretion was the better part of valor, and for the sake of 5 or 10 minutes I will get a little more juice here at Broxton. I can see they've got their new triple charger here, which does not seem to be functioning. And the rapid charger, which I suspect is not working at rapid charger rates. However, I can't be bothered to pull out the cable from the back of the car, so that is the one I'm going to use. One hour it says. I'm at 53%, an hour and 5 minutes. Yeah, so it's definitely not working at It'll be, I assume it's working at the usual 18 kilowatts or something like that. I think these are the other chargers that are near here. Are 22 kilowatt. I thought they were 7, but I wonder if they've been. I noticed on one of the charge maps that it said 22. I'll need to try that one day, because it does make a difference if this is not working at kind of the rate it should be. Get a little bit of light here. Still charging. It's up to 67%. That has been just over, well, 12 minutes. So 3.27 kilowatt hours in 12 minutes. So 3 times 6, 18. Yeah, that's about what I thought. It was running about 18 or so kilowatt rate. So much. If these other ones are running at 22 kilowatts, they would be quite a lot faster. Yeah, I'm used to this one. It's this one. I'm hoping this other one that they've put in here, when it's actually functioning, which is a brand new triple head. This one's got 3 as well, but it's the same old machine, and the CCS is just hanging off the edge here, whereas this one has actually got them all properly in, and it looks like it's a different CHAdeMO connector, which I've heard is a bit better for those who are on a Leaf and the likes, but it would be even better if it's actually charging at the proper rate. There we are. An old story, that one. Right, I'm going to unplug, and then just coming out of Perth back onto the, well, from the Broxton Park and Ride back onto the A9 to Stirling. So I've added, I'm up to 47 miles, so and how much is it to go? 34 miles to go, so loads. So I don't need to spare the horses on the way down, though I suspect I'm going to get traffic. Anyway, I don't have any worries, or I don't need to soft pedal it to get down there, so I don't need to give that any extra thoughts. 4:30, and we'll need another stop at Stirling just to make sure I've got enough for running around tomorrow before heading back up the road. That's the idea. Still in eco mode, which you do have to remember when you're at a roundabout. And now if you put your foot, absolutely mash it to the floor, you still get full power, but if you just are used to not having an eco mode and you're expecting it to take off at a certain speed to get into that gap in the traffic, you need to be aware that you won't have as much juice just available to you. In this really cold weather, because most of the driving I've been doing in the last few weeks has been just around Aberdeen, around the city, I have had it on not on eco mode, with the heating on at 21, 22 degrees, and because the heater works a lot more effectively at when the eco mode is not on, when it's just in normal mode. Keeps the car nice and toasty. You use a lot more energy, but in the middle of winter, especially when, as I quite often am doing, I'm taking kids to different activities, and then I'm sitting in the car for an hour at a time waiting for the kids to finish. You don't really want to be sitting in the car perishing. So I tend just to keep the car turned on, which keeps the heater going. Of course, you're not using any energy for for moving a motor around if you are sitting in the car with the diesel engine or the petrol engine just running while you're waiting, which you would need to do in this kind of weather. Otherwise, then yes, you're not using as much energy, but it does keep the car warm. Actually, I'm thinking the old Mercedes I had, it did have this quite clever system that you could, if the engine had been hot and you parked up, you could press this button and it would just circulate it would keep circulating the water through the heating elements, even though the engine wasn't running, and the fan would gently blow, and it would keep the car nice and warm for a good half an hour or so after the engine was off, which was quite clever. Of course, it run the battery down, something chronic. So that would be usually the weak link. It wasn't that it run out of hot water in the system. It's usually because the battery warning came on. But a clever idea to use some of that energy up. I'm at the services at Stirling, and I've just plugged in. I think I was at 20%, and we're saying 40 minutes to go. So that's great. So yes, this one is working at as these always seem to be that when I've used them at full rate. It does make such a big difference when you have got a long journey to go. Yep. So I'm going to go get a cup of coffee and let the car charge up, and then the rest of the way down. It is 5:10 or so. Yeah. So it should be well. We'll see. I think I'm going to be 6:30 or so by the time I get down the road. More like that. Right. However, all very seamless. Didn't have too much traffic. I just kept at. I've had eco mode on just about all the. There was a couple of times going past lorries and things where I've cranked the speed up a bit further, but generally, most of the time, eco mode on the way down, and not a problem. It does seem to be much easier than it was last time I came down. I haven't watched that video again for ages, so I can't remember if my memory of it is right or not. But it seemed to be. I mean, it was fine, but it took a long time. So yeah, this does seem to be more straightforward. I think just it's because the main chargers I've used, the Forfar and this one, are working at the proper 43 kilowatts. Big difference that. Right, signing off. Coffee time. I have my coffee. And phone calls and a few other bits and bobs, and came back out, and we're at 94%. So I'm going to leave it to get up to 95 and then unplug and head back. Now, last time I was doing a kind of run down to here, I actually had, when I got here, there was another, in fact there were two other Leafs charging. There was one charging when I arrived, which had just plugged in, and then another one came as I was about to be finished. It's all been clear today, so that does gives you, it gives you a clear run in that you're not because I think I had to wait about 25 minutes or so that other time. So that does make a difference. I'm just checking that's not a Leaf pulling up, but it isn't there. Right, while I've waffling on, we have hit 95%. So time to unplug and then down to Bothwell. Nearly at Bothwell. It is 6:15. So yeah, that's about perfect timing, really. What I was hoping to be down about. Well, my ideal was to be down about 6. Looks like I'll be at the destination about 6:20, so that's fine. I was a bit later leaving than I anticipated, so no problems. Wait for the extra wipe. There it goes. Nice little feature when you're doing a wash wipe, that you get that extra wipe a few seconds later to catch the drips that come down inevitably. So that's me back. That's us here at the hotel. What have I done? My averages here. 3.26. Not brilliant, but hey ho. What's it saying on here? Yeah, as I expected on the motorway and all of that. But you see this, energy saved, only 1 kilowatt hour. This is what is making me think that something has changed in the regen quite considerably. I would expect that to be quite a bit more. Hey, I think I'm going to try and find out a bit more about that from Renault, what they've done with that. Anyway, right, well that's me. Gonna have some fun tonight, celebrating Rabbie Burns. Bye. It is the next morning, and a very good night was had by all yesterday here in the Bothwell Bridge Hotel. So I'm going to pop over to Camberslang to see some family. I have got 40 miles or so of range left. There's more than, must be about 58% or something like that on the battery, so should be plenty of charge to get back up to Stirling later, I'm thinking, and charge up there when I head home a wee bit later on. This way, I think. Unfortunately, no charging point at the hotel here. It is something that you would hope in the future that hotels would, and I know some hotels are doing it, but the hotels would, as kind of matter of course, put in a charging point, and of course it would only need to be a 7 kilowatt, something like that, so that you could be charging overnight when you're staying. I'm sure that'll come as things develop, but not quite there at the moment. So no charging point, so I wasn't able to charge up overnight. However, having got, I think I was up to 97% when I left the Stirling services last night. There's plenty of charge left in the battery.
Okay, so here we go once again.
Following day, Sunday morning, and had a good evening last night with a small group playing their first ceilidh in a local pub, so quite fun. Anyways, heading back up the road, so I have the battery's half full. Excuse me. 24 miles to go back to Stirling, and I'll charge up there. I'll need to let it charge right up, I think, there. And I'm in a bit of a rush to get back. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I hope I'm not coming down with something. So I think I might need to go a little bit faster on the motorways, just on my way back, than I did on the way down when I kept it eco mode all the way. Let's see how we're doing. Got a meeting I need to get back for this afternoon, so it should be enough time. But if one of the chargers has already got somebody there or something like that, that could put a bit of a spanner in the works. However, we'll work through these challenges as they come. just arrived at Stirling services at 10 AM, left about 9:30, and was down to 15% on the battery. So it's saying about an hour to charge. I'm obviously not going to let it charge to 100%, so maybe let it charge for 40 minutes or so, something like that. With the then this should get me back to Forfar and then back to Aberdeen. Yeah, but no one here when I arrived. It's all pretty quiet. You can hear the fans whirring up. Yeah, so no worries. So I think a coffee maybe, read a little bit of my book, and then head on up the road. See if I can find another spot for the camera in the car. I'm thinking over here maybe, for another spot. All right. It's 10:40, 40 minutes has passed, and I'm up to 98% charge. So I'm going to unplug and head off up to Forfar. I may stop, as I did on the way down, briefly at Perth for a quick top up, and head on, and then head on the rest of the way. Right, time to unplug. It's 70 miles and I've got 68 on the range, it says. Yeah, so I might just stop for briefly at Perth on the way, just to make sure I've got plenty of electronic energy particles mixing away in the battery below my seat. I'm in Perth, just driving kind of through the city. I think I'm not going to charge here at Perth. I'm just going to carry on. I think I've got enough. 39 miles it says left on the gauge, and 34 4 miles on here, so should be plenty. Going cross country rather than on the motorway, I will save a bit of energy too. So that's okay. Due to get there just after 12, 10 past 12 or so, 12:08. Slightly different route here to the sat-nav is wanting to take me right and back onto the motorway. I'm going to go left, cut across country, and I think that'll probably drop it to about 8 miles from the 33 there, something like that. So we should have loads of energy actually. A very grey day, coming back, not really heavy rain, just mist, but yeah, it's definitely a wintry feel, though it's quite a lot warmer now, 7 degrees here than it has been. This keeps flashing up to me that I'm going to run out of charge. I don't think it realises that I am heading to a charging point. It's trying to turn me back, of course. It'll work out, I'm going a different route at some point. On the cross-country part of the journey from Perth to Forfar, and as expected gained quite a lot of range back. 23 miles it tells me, and under 10 miles to go to the charging point at Angus House, just off the motorway in Forfar. Just coming to the to meet the motorway here at the kind of one of the Forfar turn-offs. So the same spots that I I regularly charge at. Now that there's a rapid charger here, and it's a good location. So my charge, it's that kind of balance between enough charge to get up to Aberdeen fairly speedily, you know, not having to go super steady, and not charging too long. You don't really need. Of course, I'm coming back all the way back down here tomorrow for a meeting in Perth. So, up and down this road all the time. Well, this should all be clear. Yes. No cars here at all. %, 45 minutes it says. When I was at Stirling I got some food, so I'm gonna have some lunch here. It's 12:05. Let this charge up and then head back up. So yeah, it should be back in plenty of time. So that's all right. I'm trying to remember what time it was I left now. 9:30, wasn't it? So looks like it'll be about 4 hours back. So a year ago when I did this journey, I think it took me 7 hours, something like that, 6.5, 7 hours. Yeah, it's a lot easier now. Okay. Lunch and listen to an audiobook, I think.
Captain Volodya Peshkov, head of the Berlin section of Red Army Intelligence, met Werner Frank at the Invalid Cemetery beside the Berlin-Spandau ship canal. It was a good choice. Looking around the graveyard carefully, Volodya was able to confirm that no one followed him or Werner in. The only other person present was an old woman in a black headscarf, and she was on her way out. Their rendezvous was...
Car's been charging for 30 minutes, just 32 minutes, and we're at 98%. Time to unplug. Thing's a bit of a pest with the cruise control is that it doesn't most cruise controls I've used, if you hold the plus button in, it will jump in usually 5 mile an hour kind of sections up, so you can quickly regain speed if you're changing from one setting to another. So I know if you just cancel the cruise control and then hit the resume, of course it goes back to the speed you're at. But just what I was going through there was a 50 mile an hour limit, so I had the cruise control set at 50 and then back up to the 70 here, and you've got to tap on the plus button just to go up in 1 mile an hour increments. Yeah, it just seems like a bit cheap, really. If you could just, why can't you just hold it down and it'll go up in chunks so that you can go back? Not exactly a huge issue, it has to be said, but would be easy to remedy. Home, and it is almost exactly 1:30, so 4 hours since I left, and 1 hour and 10 minutes of charging with 2 rapid charges, one of 40 minutes, one of half an hour, or thereabouts, and most of the time cruising at about 60 miles an hour. Just the last bit from Forfar to Aberdeen, I sat at either cruise control at 65 or at 70. So I had the eco mode off for the last bit in order to allow that faster travelling. So a huge difference to my my last attempt at doing that drive. Yeah, you see the speed has taken a bit of a hit because of that. Energy consumption 87, only 2 back, you see, over 300 miles. I still have questions about the Regen, what it's doing after the car was serviced, so I need to find out a bit more about that. Let me turn the engine off, or at least turn the car off. So there is that. I don't think there's much else really to say from the information here. 3.3, that's not brilliant, but kind of okay. And this is just the last bit. Yeah, this has been coming down the hill back into Aberdeen here. Energy recovered 0.3 over this period. It's not much, is it? Oh, no, this must be over the whole journey. So 0.7 used, 15.5 kilowatt hours since I guess since leaving Forfar, and only 0.3 kilowatt hours back. not very much, but most of the time it's just cruising on the motorway with the cruise control set, so no reason for that. But I have to say, much easier these days, and it's, as I've said before, it's a combination of things. It's both understanding the car better and just how to use it most efficiently, and there being more rapid chargers available, which allows you to stop. There are multiple different places you can stop, so you can kind of tailor it as to where you want to go, and that's exactly how it should be, and hopefully that'll get better as more charging points get in and as they get more reliable. I had no problems with any of them over the weekend. They all worked fine, and first time, so that's good. Right, half an hour until another meeting. Oh dear, it never stops. Okay, nice to have your company on my journey down south for lots of Burns stuff, Kayleys and all the rest. Okay, till next time, bye.